If you're watching this right now, let me tell you, sometimes a simple act of kindness can change the entire course of your life. I'm not talking about winning the lottery or a once-in-a-lifetime miracle. I'm talking about something as simple as pulling over during a storm and saying, "Hey, do you need a ride?" That's how my story began, with a girl on the roadside, soaked to the bone, her thumb up and her eyes down. I didn't know it then, but that one moment, that single decision, would change everything, for both of us. Now, let me take you back to that night. The rain had been falling for hours. Heavy. Cold. The kind of rain that beat against your windshield and blurred the road like a bad memory. I was heading home from another long day at the hardware store I worked at, tired, my hands aching from unloading boxes. My old pickup truck rattled as it moved down the winding country road outside town, the windshield wipers barely keeping up. That's when I saw her. Just a shadow at first, then clearer as the headlights hit her. A girl, probably in her early 20s, drenched, shivering, standing beside the road with a small bag clutched to her chest. She didn't wave. She didn't look up. Just stood there, defeated. I slowed down. Something in my gut told me to stop. "You all right?" I asked, rolling the window down just enough to hear over the rain. She looked up, and for a second, I forgot how to breathe. She was beautiful, not the movie star kind of beautiful, but the kind that carried sadness in her eyes like a secret. Her long hair stuck to her face, her lips blue from the cold. She hesitated. Then nodded slowly. Can I get a ride?" she asked, her voice barely above the rain. "Hop in," I said. She opened the door and climbed in without a word. Her clothes were soaked through. I handed her the flannel jacket that sat on the passenger seat. She took it with trembling hands, murmuring a thank you. "Name's Jack," I said after a moment. "I'm heading into Maple Ridge. That all right?" She nodded, pulling the jacket tighter around her. "Yeah. That's fine. I just need to get away." I glanced at her sideways. "Get away from what?" She stared out the window for a while before answering. "Everything." We drove in silence for a bit, the rain drumming on the roof like a heartbeat. I wanted to ask more questions, but something about her said not to. She looked like someone who had run far, not just from a place, but from a life. As we passed the streetlights of the small town, she finally spoke. "Thank you, Jack. You didn't have to stop. Most people wouldn't." I shrugged. "Didn't seem right to leave you out there in that storm." She looked at me then. Her eyes were green. Deep, forest green. The kind you don't forget. Most people look right through me. Like I'm invisible. "Not me," I said quietly. We reached the outskirts of town. I offered to get her something warm to eat, and after a pause, she nodded. We pulled into a small diner, the kind that's open all night and smells like burnt coffee and memories. She ordered pancakes and tea. I got a cheeseburger. We sat in a booth by the window, the rain still falling outside. "So," I said, trying not to sound like I was prying. "Where you headed?" She sipped her tea, staring into the cup like it held the answers. "Somewhere nobody knows my name." I smiled gently. "Well, what should I call you then?" She hesitated. "Claire." "My name's Claire." I didn't believe that was her real name, but I didn't push. Sometimes people just need a fresh start, even if it begins with a lie. Over the next hour, she opened up a little. Not much, just enough to let me know she was running from something big. A life she didn't choose. A cage built with diamonds. I didn't know it then, but Claire wasn't just a girl on the run. She was the daughter of one of the richest men in the country. A runaway heiress, born into a world of private jets and mansions, and suffocating expectations. And I was just a small-town guy with a rusted truck and a broken coffee machine. But none of that mattered in that diner, under the flickering fluorescent lights. There, we were just two strangers, sharing a warm meal in a cold world. When we left the diner, I offered her the spare room at my place. She hesitated. "Are you sure?" she asked. "I don't want to be a burden." "You won't be," I said. "It's nothing fancy, but it's dry and safe." That night, she curled up on my couch with a blanket, while I crashed in the bedroom. I lay awake for a long time, wondering who she really was, what she was running from, and why it felt like fate had dropped her into my life. In the days that followed, Claire stayed. At first, she barely spoke. Just helped around the house, made breakfast, washed dishes. She never used a phone. Never asked about town. And every time a car passed outside, she tensed, like she was waiting for someone to find her. One morning, I found her in the backyard, staring up at the sky. "I used to dream about this," she said softly. "About just breathing. Not being watched. Not being told what to do." I stood beside her. "You're safe here, Claire. Whatever it is, you can stay as long as you need." She smiled then. The first real smile I'd seen. It broke something open in me. What I didn't know was that her disappearance had made national headlines. That the media was calling her the billionaire heiress gone missing. That her father had hired private investigators, offering millions for her return. But in my little world, none of that mattered. I just knew that every day with Claire made me feel more alive. She started laughing more. Cooking. Reading books from my old shelf. We planted flowers in the front yard. I taught her how to fix a leaky faucet. And some nights, we sat on the porch, watching the stars, saying nothing at all. But the past has a way of catching up. And one evening, while we were driving back from the farmer's market, I noticed a black SUV behind us. Close. Too close. Claire went pale. "It's them," she whispered. "I know that car." My heart dropped. "Who?" "My father's security. They've found me." I swerved down a side road, trying to lose them. Claire clutched my arm. "Don't take me back, Jack. Please. I can't go back to that life. I'd rather be nobody with you than be everything alone." In that moment, I knew. I'd do anything to protect her. Even if it meant hiding her. Even if it meant facing men in suits and secrets I couldn't imagine. Because sometimes, when fate hands you a soaked girl on the side of the road, you don't question it. You just hold on. And hope that love is enough that you're still here. That means something in this story pulled you in. Maybe it was Claire, standing alone in the rain, or maybe it was the idea that even two strangers can find a reason to hold on when the rest of the world turns cold. But now, I need you to hold on tight, because the truth is about to come out. And it's more powerful, more painful, and more beautiful than you could ever expect. After we lost the black SUV, I didn't take Claire home. I drove to the edge of town, down a dirt road only locals used, and pulled into an abandoned barn that belonged to my uncle. We waited there, in silence, the rain starting again like it always did when things got too quiet. Claire sat on a bale of hay, knees drawn up, staring at the floor. "They won't stop looking," she said softly. "Even now, they probably have satellite searching. Facial recognition. Money makes anything possible. Let them search," I said, sitting beside her. "I'll keep you safe." She looked at me then, her eyes full of something deeper than fear. "You don't even know who I am." "Does it matter?" I asked. "You're Claire." "That's not my name," she whispered. "It never was." She took a breath, slow and shaky, like she'd been holding it her whole life. "My real name is Isabella Harrow." I froze. That name, Isabella Harrow, I'd heard it 100 times on the news, on headlines I never cared to read. The missing heiress. Daughter of Vincent Harrow, tech tycoon. Billionaire. Power broker. A man so rich and powerful, his name was whispered in boardrooms and feared in politics. Claire, or Isabella, waited for me to react. You think I'm crazy now, don't you? I shook my head slowly. No. I just didn't expect it. She looked relieved, and also deeply sad. I ran away the night before my engagement party. They were trying to marry me off to another billionaire's son. Someone I barely knew. A merger disguised as a wedding. My whole life had been scripted, Jack. From the school I went to the clothes I wore, to the friends I pretended to like. I wasn't living. I was performing. I didn't say anything, just reached for her hand. She let me hold it. I just wanted to feel real, she whispered. To know what it's like to breathe without permission. That night, we slept on the barn floor, huddled in old blankets, her head on my chest. And for the first time since she arrived, I think she slept without fear. But I knew this peace wouldn't last. The world doesn't let people like Isabella disappear quietly. Especially not when billions are at stake. Back at my place, the tension returned. Every sound made her jump. Every knock on the door made her flinch. I offered to take her out of state, to a cabin my cousin owned up north. She nodded, eyes wide, but something held her back. Jack, she said one morning, while we sat at the kitchen table. I've been lying to you since the beginning. I'm not just a runaway. If my father finds out you helped me, he'll ruin you. He has that kind of power. I looked into her eyes. Let him try. Because I'd rather lose everything than pretend like you don't matter. She blinked hard, tears threatening. Why are you so kind to me? Because someone should be. 2 days later, we left. Packed what we could, drove out before sunrise. The road stretched endlessly, mountains rising in the distance. We stopped for gas in a small town no one's ever heard of, and that's when it happened. As I walked out of the station, 2 men in black suits were standing beside our car. Claire, Isabella, was frozen in the passenger seat, her eyes locked on them. One of them held up a phone. My heart sank. Her photo was on it. I didn't think. I ran. Grabbed her hand, yanked the door open, and we bolted. Into the woods behind the station, crashing through branches, thorns tearing at our skin. The men chased us, shouting her name. Isabella. Stop. You're not safe. But she didn't stop. Neither did I. We ran until our legs gave out. Until our breath was fire and our hearts were drumbeats of panic. We hid under a fallen tree, listening to footsteps fade. For hours, we stayed there, covered in dirt and sweat and fear. She cried silently. They'll never stop, she whispered. They'll find me. They'll drag me back. I'll be a prisoner again. I cupped her face in my hands. Not if I'm with you. Not if we keep fighting. Eventually, we made it to the cabin. A tiny place with no signal, no internet, no eyes. For a while, it felt like heaven. We chopped wood. Cooked over fire. Read books. We even danced once, just the 2 of us, to the sound of wind and rain. I watched her come alive again. Watched her become more than an heiress, more than a runaway. She was just Isabella. Wild. Brilliant. Free. And then, one night, everything shattered. I was on the porch, sipping coffee, when I heard the sound. A drone. Low, whirring. I looked up, and saw it hovering. Watching. By morning, 3 black SUVs lined the edge of the forest. I told Isabella to run, but she didn't. She stood on the porch, back straight, face calm. "It's over," she said. "I can't keep running. They'll ruin your life, Jack. I can't let them." "Don't say that," I pleaded. "We can disappear again." She shook her head. "I love you too much to destroy you." That was the first time she said it. "I love you." She stepped down, walked toward the men. Her father stood among them. Tall. Cold. Unmoved. "You've made your point," he said. "Let's go." She turned back once, her eyes locking with mine. "Thank you for giving me the only real weeks of my life." Then she was gone. I didn't hear from her after that. Weeks passed. Months. I went back to my routine, fixing shelves, lifting boxes, pretending I hadn't lost the most important person I'd ever known. Then, one day, a black car pulled up outside the store. A driver handed me an envelope. Inside was a note, "Meet me where the rain first found me." And a plane ticket. I knew exactly what it meant. The next day, I drove to the road where it all began. Where the rain fell. Where a girl stood alone, soaked and shivering. She was there again. Only now, she wore jeans, a hoodie, and sneakers. No security. No cameras. Just her. Isabella. My Isabella. I told him no, she said, walking up to me. No more mergers. No more leashes. I'm free now. And I want to be free with you. I didn't say anything. I just pulled her into my arms and held her like the world might end. We moved to a small town by the coast. Quiet. Peaceful. She opened a bookstore cafe. I still fix things. Sometimes people recognize her. Sometimes they don't. It doesn't matter anymore. Because love isn't about where you come from, it's about who stays when the storm hits. So next time you see someone alone in the rain, don't look away. Don't pass by. You never know whose life you might be stepping over. You never know what story might begin with, "Do you need a ride?" The end. Red heart. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes in love, kindness, and second chances. Thank you for watching. Red heart.